Bunzy'S vlog! Hurrah! Right, one thing I've been asked about a lot over the years, and this is the sort of conversation you get when you're with a few friends late at night and you're having a few drinks, and you know, for some reason things come round to paranormal activity. And I don't mean the crappy film that made a fortune. I'm talking about, do you believe in paranormal activity? Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? And you know, I'd like to say no, I don't believe. But you know, I have had a few strange experiences in my time that I'd like to talk about, you know. And before I tell you about these experiences, let's make one thing clear. Yeah, I was not exceedingly drunk when I had these experiences, and no, I've never taken any kind of hallucinogenic drugs, and I don't have a history of mental illness that has been diagnosed. You know, but I'm just going to tell you about these experiences. Now, the first, many years ago, I was living with an ex-girlfriend. I won't say what her name was because I don't think it's fair. Lovely girl though. Obviously she saw the error of her ways and chucked me. Don't blame her. But you know, we'd been living together for a while, and we were sat one evening watching TV. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening probably, and she suddenly leapt around on the sofa and said to me, "Oh my God, something bad's happened to my sister." And I was like, "What?" She said, "Something really bad's happened to my sister." And I was like, "What are you talking about? We're just watching whatever rubbish it was on telly." And she went, "No, I've got to phone home, something really bad's just happened." And at that exact second, the phone rang and we looked at each other like, whoa. And it was her mum. And she said, "Look, I don't want to alarm you, but I'm not going to say the name of the sister either, but your sister's been in a car accident." And I'll be honest, at that point I almost pooed myself. I was terrified because it shakes you up when things like this happen. And you know, it really literally made me go all goosebumpy. And yeah, luckily her sister, you know, she was in a car accident, but luckily she was okay. She just had whiplash. But what was more scary was there was this weird connection where she knew the exact second it had happened. And you know, after we went to visit her sister in the hospital, we asked sort of what time it had happened, and it actually happened sort of almost the exact time that my ex actually said to me something's happened to her. So it's like she predicted the second it happened. And her mum, you know, only found out because her sister had a mobile on her and called home before, you know, anyone called for an ambulance. So it was kind of, yeah, it was kind of weird. So that was the first experience. The second experience also actually involves her mum. Her mum and dad, one weekend, they were actually driving to a wedding which was about 100 miles away from where they lived. They lived on the East Coast, and they were driving to a wedding up in the Midlands, I think it was. And they're driving down these country lanes because this wedding was in a village. And all of a sudden she said to her husband, "Oh my God, that's where I used to live, up that road." And he was like, "What are you talking about? We've never lived up there." And she went, "No, I used to be a nun up that road." And you know, and so she goes, "We need to go up that road." So they drove up this little country track, and they got to this massive old house. And there was a guy in the garden outside doing some gardening, and she got out and she spoke to the guy, and she said, "I used to live here." And he said, "I think you're mistaken because we've been here for about 40 years. And she went, "No, I used to live here. Did this place used to be a nunnery?" And he said, "Well, it hasn't been a nunnery for about 300 years. And she said, the kitchens were over there, and you know, where we pray was over here. And basically she described the entire place, you know, and everything about it. She knew everything. And the weird thing was, it wasn't even like that anymore. It changed. But this guy said, yeah, that's how it used to be, but we actually changed it, and some of it had been changed before we moved in, but we've got, views and old photos of how it used to be. And it turns out she was right about everything. So whether, maybe there's a way to explain that away, because I'm always the first to not believe things. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that house had been featured on some television programme that she'd seen years before, and it, in her head it had all been jumbled up, and so it was like a daydream, I don't know. Or maybe it was a previous life thing, who knows, but there's a lot you can't explain. And I've saved the best story till last, because the best story, I think it's the best story, but it's because it's something that actually happened to me. Now, I used to live in a house in Watford many years ago, and it was always a very cold house, and it was a weird house. The electrics in it were really strange, actually. Like, for instance, one night we were sat having dinner, and all of a sudden a lightning bolt literally flew straight across the kitchen from the cooker and went to the tap. And I said to my girlfriend at the time, did you see the lightning bolt? And she was like, yeah. And we were both so terrified, we just carried on eating our dinner, and then decided not to spend the rest of the day in the open plan, kitchen and lounge. We decided to go upstairs and watch TV. But our room was always incredibly cold, even though it had, 2 radiators in it, and there was just a weird feeling in the house. And one day, this weird feeling kind of came to a head when I was in the bathroom, and I was having a shave, and I was looking in the mirror, having a shave, and I hadn't had anything to drink, hadn't taken drugs, hadn't done any of that. I was literally just shaving. It was about 5 in the evening. Still quite a sort of nice evening, it wasn't dark. Looking in the mirror, and I saw someone over my shoulder, like you do, because you can kind of like see there, can't you? And also in the mirror, a woman just walked straight past me, like that, and walked straight into the wall. Or I turned round just as she walked into the wall. That freaked the hell out of me. Because I don't believe in ghosts. I'm the first person to say I don't believe in ghosts. I don't know what it was I saw, but I don't believe in ghosts. But I literally ran out of the bathroom, ran down the stairs, and told my girlfriend at the time what had happened. And she was a bit freaked out, and she tried to calm me down. And obviously we then went up and looked around the bathroom, and there was nothing. And but next day our landlord was actually coming to fix a problem with the house. And I ended up mentioning to him what had happened. And I said I had a really weird experience, and I explained that this girl was quite tall. She was wearing jeans, she was wearing like a white top, but like normal jeans. She had long sort of dark hair down to here, it was a bit crimped. And I explained it to him, this girl, and he said, oh yes, that'll be so-and-so, that'll be, I think her name was Ellen or whatever it was, who used to live here. And I was like, what? He was like, the girl who lived here before you. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, she actually cut her wrists in the bathroom and then walked through into the bedroom and died on the bed. And I was like, right. So what you're saying is the house that we rented from you, someone's committed suicide in it, and you forgot to tell us when we rented it? And he was like, well, the thing is, if you tell people things like that, they get a bit freaked out and they might not want to rent the place. And I was like, no crap, Sherlock. But yeah, I was freaked out. But it turned out she was a student who'd been suffering from depression and had actually committed suicide, or there was a student that had done that before we moved in. Now, whether that was the same one that I saw, the description that I gave him was exactly the same. So, I don't know if I saw a ghost, I don't know what I saw, but it freaked the hell out of me. And luckily for me, because I didn't want to sleep in the house any longer, and I think we actually ended up staying at one of our friends' houses, who was also a student, for a couple of nights. But luckily, because there was such problems with the electrics, we said we wanted to have the contract broken. And he's like, oh, you're not breaking the contract because, I'll just sue you for loads of money. And I said, if you don't break the contract, I'm going to phone the electricity board and you'll never be able to rent this place out again. And he went, all right, you can move out tomorrow. And we got our deposit back. So I left Ghostly Towers of Watford, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was a freaky house, and that's my one paranormal experience that I've had. Weird. Anyway, if you've had anything similar, drop me a comment. And yeah, just don't comment about drugs or drink. It's very dull. And to be honest, I don't even believe what I saw myself. It was freaky.